Everyone loves Scarlet and Violet.
Hep hep!
Boo! You stink!
Well, half the world do.
Perfectly balanced.
Honestly, whatever side you're on though, we all know for sure, without a doubt, that Scarlet and Violet is one of the buggiest and glitchiest modern day Pokemon games so far. And it does have me thinking about some of the notable bugs and glitches throughout the Pokemon franchise, because with Scarlet and Violet having some interesting bugs, glitches, and even exploits, none are as memorable and influential as the ones I'll be talking about in this video. I will be talking about the glitches within the core series and not the spin-offs, so if you guys are thinking about certain spin-offs with glitches, just keep in mind I've never really followed any of those games, and I just want to talk about some of the biggest icons in Pokemon history in terms of glitches and exploits and what else in the core series, and you guys may or may not recognize him. So I guess without further ado, I'll just start off with the glitch that made a surprise return. The egg. Not just any egg though, the bad egg. The bad egg actually made a very recent appearance in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's actually possible to obtain these eggs by doing a Walking Waker Iron Leaves Terror Raid. Now before you jump in and start doing it, I want to say first and foremost, it's a bad idea. It's a bad egg and it's a bad idea. Essentially, in order to obtain these eggs, you have to join a terror raid, which I don't know if it's still ongoing right now, but you join one of those terror raids, which is either the Walking Waker and Iron Leaves, if you don't have version 1.20. And what ends up happening is instead of catching one of those two, you have a bad egg in your party and you won't be able to catch Walking Wake or Iron Leaves. They actually first appeared in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, essentially the Generation 3 of the Pokemon franchise, and has actually showed up in future iterations of the Pokemon games. The majority of how these eggs are attained is through the use of cheating, honestly. So they're either using Action Replay, Game Shark, or just some third-party software that you find on, online internet. There are, like I mentioned before, rare instances where cheating was not the reason, and one example already showed off was Scarlet and Violet, because, well, people didn't want the bad eggs, and we're not cheating, they just wanted an Iron Leaves and Walking Wake. Another example is actually Pokemon Emerald. In Pokemon Emerald, there's a glitch that was discovered and actually exploited and just weeded out called the Glitzer Popping Glitch. It was discovered between 2011 and it kept on finding new things about this glitch throughout 2011 up to 2014. Essentially, the idea of this glitch was to obtain corrupted eggs, allowing you to hatch Pokemon that you specifically want, including the event-exclusive Pokemon within Pokemon Emerald, known as Mew and Deoxys. However, with that glitch, there are risky moments where the player could potentially obtain a bad egg instead of a regular corrupted egg, which can hatch into any Pokemon you want. Something that no one wants. Now, honestly, back to the topic of hacking though, when it comes to trying to cheat and hack, some bad eggs appear if you were to hack your game in order to steal other NPCs' Pokemon. Some prime examples is when you essentially catch another trainer's Pokemon, there will be a text saying, "Bad egg has been sent into your PC." That should be a red flag, because there are moments whenever you catch a trainer's Pokemon using cheats, you won't know where the bad egg is located, and sometimes they're invisible. So something to keep of note. And then there's other examples of when people create a legitimate Pokemon, but through hacking methods, that a bad egg will appear within the game, somewhere in the PC or even in your party. But then you wonder, can you just release the bad egg into the wild or delete it in some way, shape, or form? Technically, yes, but you can't release it because it's considered an egg. But you can release it, funny enough, through hacking or cheating methods. And then at times, bad eggs can be seen in the PC unknowingly or even invisible. And sometimes it will crash the game if a bad egg is invisible and you attempt to look at its summary or try to somehow remove it. Masino. Yeah, you're looking at that correctly. That's a backwards L, glitchy looking thing right there. And if you don't know what that is, you're either not a true Pokemon fan or at least not a veteran in the Pokemon community if you've never heard of these or even seen one of these. Masigno, which is actually pronounced missing number because the NO is actually an abbreviation for number, is the most popular Pokemon glitch and by far one of the creepiest, like I mentioned before. So these are actually the Masignos, not just this backwards ale, but this fossil looking Pokemon and ghost and yellow weird pixelated thing. Let's start with the backwards ale. The backwards L, if you attempt to battle in the wild, your game could potentially crash. If you attempt to check its summary, it could potentially crash. In order to obtain one or even see one, you don't have to hack the game, you just glitch the game out. It's a glitch known as the old man glitch. You go to the Viridian City, you talk to an old dude, hence the old man glitch, and then you immediately fly to Cinnabar Island, surf up north, and eventually you'll encounter a Masigno. Seems simple, right? Not necessarily. There is actually one more step that you have to do, and it's before even doing all these steps I mentioned. You have to name yourself with a letter or character ending depending on what Masigno you want to see. So for example, all these bunches of characters will likely get you to encounter the backwards L Masigno. For a fossil Kabutops, a W. For an X letter, for a fossil Aerodactyl, the X letter. For the ghost, the Y letter. And specifically, it has to be a name that ends with these letters or characters at the 3rd, 5th, or 7th character bar. So it has to end. It can't be like some 4-letter name and the third one is essentially like the W if you're trying to see a fossil Kabutops. But that's how the glitch works, and that's how you're able to see these weird and creepy Masignos. And I guess just a little fun fact about this is that for the fossil Kabutops and Aerodactyl, you're actually able to see it legitimately at Pewter Museum without glitching the game. But with the ghosts, you're actually able to see it also legitimately if you don't have a self-scope and you go to the Pokemon Tower. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a complete fan favorite to the point that even one of the famous artists for the Pokemon TCG, the card games, made an official art for both the fossil Pokemon, the Masigno, and recognizing the existence and popularity of Masigno. There are the 2 other Masignos in Generation 3 and Generation 6. For Generation 3, it's essentially a question mark. It's based off of the Pokédex. If you haven't caught a Pokemon, it just shows a question mark. And it can only be attained, at least as far as I'm concerned, through hacking methods to encounter a Masigno. And for Generation 6, it's actually a bit of a glitch, but also pretty interesting. If you were to go to the store, near a store outside of the ring in Lumio City, you're actually able to see a silhouette of what appears to be a Masigno. GlitchxCity. And no, not the musician who does some of the best Poke remix music out there. I'm talking about a GlitchxCity that appears at Generation 1 and Generation 2. However, we'll be focusing on Generation 1 since it's actually the most famous. One thing I want to point out is that if you ever were to somehow end up in this glitched out city, don't expect to get out of it unless you either 1, completely reset your game and start from the get-go, 2, you have a Pokemon already in deck with Fly and Teleport and actually have the badges to use it, or 3, you have only 1 Pokemon and that Pokemon is poisoned and about to faint, and you wipe out and end up in a Pokemon Center outside of GlitchxCity. Nonetheless, that's another glitch right there in the books, and it did remind me of perhaps one of the most notable and useful glitches of all time. Yes, useful, notable, but also pretty risky. The Void Glitch. Now, the Void Glitch has a different name known as the tweaking, or tweak glitch, or however you want to call it. This specific glitch, known as the Void Glitch, is only accessible in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and there has been some reports of it being being used in Pokemon Black, White, Black 2, White 2. And while that may be the case, why it's famous in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and even in Heart Gold, Soul Silver is that you're able to tweak the game into thinking that essentially not everything is loaded. How this works is by essentially riding your bicycle and riding it as fast as you can to the point that if you maneuver and turn a certain way without slowing down, the game does not register everything that's loaded on the screen, and thus there are certain areas that become unloaded. You're not able to essentially see certain areas anymore, and instead it's voided out. From there, you can actually go through walls and able to essentially glitch through the walls, through the game, and catch certain Pokemons that have been discovered through people who have been essentially exploiting this tweaking glitch. One example is being able to catch event-only Pokemon such as Arceus, which was actually never released in the Generation 4 games, specifically Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, Shaman, and Darkrai. There's a lot, and I say a ton of video out there that can help you and show you how to get these Pokemon using the Void Glitch, but I'll let you guys discover that for yourself. Nonetheless, that's not the only thing the Void Glitch does. In fact, if you guys remember GlitchxCity, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and even Heart Gold and Soul Silver have their own version of GlitchxCity. It looks like an actual city, but there's a lot missing and makes me feel uncomfortable. Pretty creepy, actually. This is actually fake Sinnoh. And this over here is fake Johto. That's exactly what you see right here. These are the fake areas, and essentially, if you were to do this Void Glitch in order to catch one of these two legendary Pokemon, you would actually have to travel through the fake region of the Sinnoh region. Yeah, it's pretty reminiscent of GlitchxCity, but I think it's far creepier than GlitchxCity simply because, well, it's empty. It doesn't seem right. It seems unsettling. But yeah, these are all the glitches and perhaps one of the most famous and well-known glitches within the Pokemon franchise. What do you guys think about them? Is there any favorites you have? Do you guys want to try them out? Do you think Scarlet and Violet will have something famous, something to remember, or will it just be the BLJs? Because as far as I'm concerned, I will never forget the Void Glitch and the Bad Egg, especially the Bad Egg. Ugh. Anyways, that's about it. You guys have a good one. See ya.